All right, you guys, welcome to class. My name is Teacher Chad. This hour we're going to be taking a look at our reading and pronunciation as we read through a short story. This class is for my advanced readers. The story we're going to take a look at, we'll probably go through two of them. This is Visiting Time is Over, but it may be too short, so we'll see. Okay, so this is the story. It's in the Verbling chat box as well as the Google chat box. There we go. And let's see who we have in class so far. Hi there, Victor. How are you?
Hi, Chad. How are you? I'm fine.
I'm doing great. Awesome. Nice to have you here.
Glad to see you.
Okay, good to see you as well. How about Sarah? Hi there, Sarah. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
All right. How about Osama? How you doing, Osama?
Hi, Chad. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Great. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay. We also have Laura. Hi there, Laura. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Doing well.
Very nice. Very nice. And let's see, Amparo. Hi there, Amparo. Welcome to class.
Hi, teacher. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Now, the Costa Rica game is going to be starting up here in just a little bit. If they score a goal, you might hear some craziness. So just be aware of that if that happens, okay? They already scored one. Yeah, so we'll see. Whoops. We'll see what happens from here. They're all really excited. All right, you guys. Let's see.
So, do you cheer them up?
Do I cheer them on?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. I'm happy for them. You know, I'm just not a very big football fan.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, it's oftentimes it's fairly boring. But that's obviously because I didn't grow up with the sport or anything like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's nothing against the sport. The sport is actually extremely difficult, and yeah, I understand that. But yeah, it's just not my favorite to watch. Not my favorite to watch.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, let's see. Did we get someone new in here? Hi there, Jade. How are you?
Hi. I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Very good. Is this Jade in? Hold on. Give me a second. Sweden?
Yes, I.
Yeah. Very good. Welcome back, Jade. Okay, we also have Tatiana. How you doing, Tatiana?
Fine, thank you. I'm fine.
Very good, very good. Okay, you guys. All right, let's start off here. We're going to start off with Amparo. And Amparo, please read from Tom couldn't. Okay, finish this paragraph and read to the bottom of this next one, please.
Tom couldn't understand it. He had not been allowed to see his mother for 6 months, and now his precious time with her was being cut short. He held onto her hand, tears running down his hot, red cheeks. The nurse tried to pull him away, but he would not let go. "Visiting time is over," she said. He would not let go. His eyes burned as he stared through stricken tears at the figure lying on the hospital bed. Her arms and legs were strapped to metal bedposts. Her face was pale and her eyes darted around the room. She did not now know who he was. She was not his mother, but she was his mother. Her face was his mother's beautiful face. Her smile was his mother's beautiful smile. But she was not his mother. Still he held onto her hand.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to this right here. So yes, it is streaking. Okay, so through streaking tears. Try that. Through streaking tears.
Through streaking tears.
Good, nice job. Let's go to visiting. Give me a good short I here. Instead of visiting, it's visiting.
Visiting time.
Very nice. Next up, we have the word months. Now, months here. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the TH. Okay, and we're going to pronounce it like that, months.
Months.
Okay, months. Very good. Okay, next up we have, all right. Okay, the word mother instead of mother. Okay, it's going to be mother.
Mother.
Okay, one more time, mother.
Mother.
Good. All right, nice job, Amparo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Jade. Okay, Jade, please read this this next paragraph, starting at "He pulled her hand." Okay, and finish this. Read down to let's see. Yeah, read down to untainted antiseptic, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
He pulled her hand up and ran the fingers across his face, wiping the tears away. The fingers trembled, but her face showed no response. He could remember all of the times she had touched his face before. He wanted her to come home, to get out of this place. She had been acting strangely ever since his father had disappeared, but she was okay. She was okay. She had stopped coming home from work after that. He didn't know where she would go, but he could forgive her for that. He was sad too. He loved his father too. He felt her hand on his face, and the tears would no longer come. She was okay. He knew it. She could come home now. She's okay. She can come home now, he said to the nurse. I know she's okay. But the nurse was gone. He was alone with his mother in the white room, with dark shadows that smelled of untanned antiseptic.
Good. Yeah, let's try that last word one more time. Antiseptic.
Antiseptic.
Very good. Okay. Let's go to the word alone. Instead of alone, okay, it's an O sound. Alone.
Alone.
Good. Good. Okay. All right. So we're going to go through some sets of words. You were adding extra sounds here. Okay. So for example, and it usually happens when the word ends with a D. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Now
my use.
the trick here is not to finish the D sound.
He
So
said the
if you're going
nurse.
to use said to. Okay,
He
instead
said,
of said to, it's said to the nurse. Try that.
said to the nurse.
There you go. Good. All right, let's try it here. Would no longer. Would no longer.
Would no longer.
One more time. Would instead of would. Would. Would no longer.
Would no longer.
Okay. Don't end the D sound. You're saying would. Would no. So it's would no. Would no longer.
Would no longer.
There you go. Okay, let's try. Same thing. Would go. Would go but.
Would go but.
Okay, very good. Okay, yeah, so watch those D endings. You want to only pronounce half of the D sound and then combine it with the next word.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Next up is the word, let's see here. Stopped, right here. Instead of stopped, it's stopped.
Stopped.
Uh-huh. There you go. This word here is disappeared. Disappeared.
Disappeared.
Okay, very good. Next is strangely. This is an A sound. Strangely.
Strangely.
Okay, one more time. Strangely.
Strangely.
Okay, very good. Next, we have our last one. This is, okay, right here. Trembled instead of trembled. ED ending. Trembled.
Tremble. Yeah.
Okay, ED instead of tremble. Trembled. Give me a D sound.
Trembled.
There you go. Okay, nice job. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, untainted antiseptic. All right, let's go to Laura.
Yes.
Okay, Laura, let's see here. Please read from His Mother Looked. Okay, finish here. Read this next one. And come down to, let's see. That should work. Okay, come down to here where it says, why couldn't she come home, please?
His mother looked at him and then looked away quickly. When she looked again, he looked into her eyes. They were blank, expressionless, emotionless. He had never seen her this way before, but he knew she was okay. She had to be. She had to come home. He wanted her to come home. And then the nurse was behind him again. Strong, hairy arms grabbed him and gently pulled him away from his mother, his beautiful mother. He wanted her to come home. But she's okay. She can come home now. She's okay. Visiting time is over, he heard from over his shoulder. This time it was more. The strong arms were merciless, unrelenting to his frenzied struggle. They pulled him out of the room into the wide hallway with the dark shadows. He missed his mother. He could see her face through the open door. Why couldn't he stay longer? Why couldn't she come home?
Okay, very nice, very nice. Only 2 words here, okay? First up is merciless. So the stress is at the very beginning. Merciless.
Merciless.
Very good. One more time. Merciless.
Merciless.
Okay, very good. And the last one here is hair. Okay, strong, hairy arms. Instead of hari, hairy.
Hairy. Hairy arms.
Good. One more time. Strong, hairy arms.
Strong, hairy arms.
Okay, nice job. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come home. Okay. Good. Let's go to Noura. Hi there, Noura. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Please continue from he wanted. Okay, finish the paragraph. And let's see. 1, 2, 3. Read down to here where it says his arms and his legs, please.
Okay. He wanted her to come home. 1 minute, because I'm reading from the document itself.
Okay, let me copy and paste it into the chat box. Okay, so it's in the chat box right now?
Yeah, okay. He wanted her to come home. He loves his father too. Why didn't they put him in there with his mother? He loved his father too. He was outside. The building was big. Hut or huge? Huge. How did he get outside? He wasn't sure, but he was outside. The doors were closed. He looked up at all of the windows, all of the stories. He wasn't sure which one his mother was on. He presented that she was in a corner room on the 5th floor, and he waved to the window. The building looked as if it could collapse at any time. Vines crawled up the side like snakes and disappeared onto the roof. There must be somebody in every one of those rooms, he thought. He wondered if they disappeared too. Does everybody disappear? He looked down and was relieved that he could see his arms and his legs.
Okay, very good. Let's see here. Now, the first word you had a couple of times here. This last time you said very well. Disappear. Your P sounded really good. Okay, but these other 2 times your P's were more like B's. So let's try this here. It would be disappeared. Disappeared.
Disappeared.
Good. Nice job. Next up, we have the word roof. Give me a good R here. Onto the roof.
Onto the roof.
Excellent. Nice job. Next up is the word pretended. Okay, here you said presented. Okay, this is he pretended. Try that.
He pretended.
Good. One more time. He pretended.
He pretended.
All right. Very nice. Next is the word big. Okay, so now here you pronounced a K sound saying bic. Okay, the difference between the K and the G, your tongue and your mouth, everything is in the same exact position, right? But when we
Yeah.
pronounce the G, it's a voiced sound, so you have to use your vocal cords. That's where you feel the vibration in your throat. So it's big, big.
Okay. Big. Big.
Uh-huh. Okay, good. One more time. The building was big.
The building was big.
Okay, all right. Now you're back to the K sound. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to say the G. I want you to say g, 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 g.
Go. Go.
Good, good. One more time. G, g, g.
Okay. Go. Go. Go.
All right, now let's add the vowel. Ig, ig.
Egg. Egg.
Okay,
Egg.
all right. So let's try this. I want you to say gi, gi.
Gi. Gi.
Okay, now let's try it on the other side. Igi, igi.
Iggy. Iggy.
Uh-huh, good. One more time. Igi, igi.
Iggy. Iggy.
All right, now let's try ig, iggy, iggy.
Iggy. Iggy.
All right, now the goal here is to take off the E at the end. Okay, so your mouth is doing, or your throat is doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, now we want to take off the E at the end here. So we're going to say iggy, iggy, ig.
Iggy. Egg. Egg.
Okay, say it twice and then try it again. So iggy, iggy, ig.
Iggy. Iggy. Egg.
Oh, almost there.
Yeah.
Almost at it. Okay,
Thanks.
so what you can do, okay, is those type of exercises. So you want with the G especially. Now, is this a massive sound that we use all the time? No, not necessarily. Okay, but it could come into. There might be some confusion sometime if you're only pronouncing a K when it should be a G. Okay, and really, it sounds like the only problem or the only struggle is when the G is at the end of the word. Okay,
Yeah.
when you have the G at the beginning, no problem, or in the middle, no problem. Okay, it's ending on that sound. Okay, so so you can focus on that as ending with a like an ig or an og. Ug. Find the vowel sound that's easiest for you to work through and practice that. Train your vocal cords to close and then release after that. Okay?
Okay, I will.
All right. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Osama.
Yep.
All right, Osama, please read from "They were not strapped down." Finish this paragraph and read till. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, read till here. Heard the shadows too, please.
Okay. They were not strapped down. He was free. The building was huge. He started walking. Where? He did not know. He felt like walking. The air was nice. He looked around at the trees. They all looked like weeping willows. He had never seen a weeping willow before, but these looked like they were weeping willows. They must have been weeping willows. The shadows were gray. It must be getting late, he thought. The shadows looked like they were creeping. They were creeping towards him, whispering to him that his mother was crazy. He looked around. Did anybody else hear the shadows? There was a nice-looking old man on a bench. He had some kind of eye twitch. Maybe he heard the shadows too.
Okay, very good. All
He
right, now
whispered,
just still there. Good, good. Let's go to a couple words is all. Okay, you did pretty good. You're combining like with but and I think we had it Okay, so using your stop T's, okay, you were doing quite well with those, okay? Now I want to practice this word here. Instead of shadows, it's shadows. So stress at the very beginning. Shadows.
Shadows, shadows.
There you go. Good. Now, the only other word here was at the tail end as well. So here you'd said bench. Instead of bench, it's bench. Bench.
Beh, bench.
Okay, so looking, a nice looking old man on the bench, on a bench. Try that.
A nice looking old man on the bench.
Good, good, much better. Yeah, everything else was really good. Okay, very nice job.
Okay. Thank you, Chad.
No problem. Okay, let's go to Sarah.
Yes.
Okay, Sarah, please continue from he whispered down to burning like fire, please.
Okay. He whispered back, my mother is not crazy. She's okay. She can come home now 'cause she's okay. The man on the bench abruptly jerked his head into thumbs direction and licked his lips. Thumb stood mo- mo- motionless for a moment, too afraid to move, and then he ran towards the gates at the far side of the yard. He was crying again. My mother is not crazy. He screamed at the shadows. He did not look back at the old man on the bench. He wanted he wanted he wanted to disappeared people disappear disappear. Sometime if choking him, he could not breathe. He
It
want
looks like you skipped a line. So if they
if
want
they
it bad
want
enough.
it bad enough. He wanted to disappear. He could still feel the big arm around him, choking him. He could not breathe. He wanted his mother. He wished he still had her hand. Just her hand that would be right for now. The tears burned on his cheeks, burning like fire.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to the word burned. Instead of bird, okay, force your tongue down for the R sound. Burned.
Burned.
Okay, one more time. Burned.
Burned.
Okay.
Burned.
Now, with the word her, you're using a hard R at the end, saying hair. Okay, so instead of hair, it's Okay, you need to force your tongue down and curve your tongue up. Her.
Her.
Good. Good. All right. So, still had her hand. Try that. Still had her hand.
Still had her hand.
There you go. Good. One more time. Still had her hand.
still had her hand.
Okay, very nice. Next up, we have the word breathe instead of breath. It's E, long E. Breathe, breathe.
Breathe,
Okay, give me a good R instead of breathe. Breathe.
breathe,
One more time. Breathe.
breathe, breathe. How the R to say?
You
It's
have
the
to
voice.
force your tongue down and then curve it up. It's an sound. Okay, the trick is, yeah,
Er.
your tongue cannot touch the top of your mouth.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to push it down. So it's breathe.
Breathe,
Just like
breathe,
that. Breathe. Okay.
breathe. Okay.
All right, let's try the word disappear with the R at the end. Disappear.
Severe,
Okay, very nice. Keep going with the R sound. Those are great. Next is crying. Same thing. Push the tongue down.
crying,
Crying.
crying,
Excellent.
crying.
Excellent. Now you're concentrating on those R's. They're sounding really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I listened explain how the voice.
Okay. This one here. He ran instead of he ran. He ran.
He ran.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, keep going. Okay, let's try this one here. Direction. Direction.
Direction,
Yes.
direction.
Okay, that's the R. That's how you have to pronounce it. Okay, very good. And let me check my notes. Last one here. Abruptly. Abruptly.
Abruptly, abruptly,
Okay, force the tongue down. Abruptly.
abruptly, abruptly.
Very nice. Very nice. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's go to Tatiana.
Okay, but till what?
Tatiana, are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you read from he could not down to then heard the shadows, please.
Mm-hmm. Um, he could not breathe. The shadows were chasing him. They were still whispering. He ran through the gates. They were open. "Hey, watch out, kid!" the gate guard yelled. Tom looked up and saw a bus moving straight towards him. He dived to the side of the road and landed in a flower garden. He lay there for what seemed like days. He was breathing hard and he wasn't sure why. His mind was racing and he found himself imagining what his father must have felt just before he disappeared. What made him want it bad enough? Tom couldn't quite remember. He was alone. The air felt nice. He opened his eyes. He saw the bright blue sky and the clouds. They were moving fast. Too fast. The clouds were racing. His head was spinning. The gate guard was standing over him, saying things he could not understand. He could not hear anything. Then he heard the shadows.
Okay, very good. All right, let's try that last word there. Instead of shadows, this is an a sound. It's shadows.
Shadows.
Okay, very nice. Next up is the word imagining.
Imagining.
Yeah, where did you go, imagining?
His mind was racing and he found himself imagining.
Yeah, I cannot find this at all. Oh, racing. No? Holy macaroni.
In the
Oh, right
other
here.
format.
Sheesh. Yeah. So instead of imagining, it's a ma. It's that same sound. Okay. So instead of shadows, it's shadows. And instead of imagining, it's imagining.
Imagining shadows.
Okay, good, good. Next, we have the word laid. Okay, long
Laid.
A, laid.
Laid.
Okay, good. Next up, instead of divided, this word is dived. Dived.
Dived.
Okay, very good. Next is the word guard. Now, here, if you don't pronounce the R, it sounds like God, like an ah sound, God. So it's guard. Guard.
Guard.
One more time, guard.
Guard.
Good. Um, and your last one here is could. Instead of could with an oo, it's could. Could.
Could.
There you go. All right, nice job. Thank you. Okay, very good. Let's go to Victor.
Okay.
Victor, please read from They Were Still Whispering. And okay, read down to How It Got There, please.
They were still whispering, sardonically mocking him. He couldn't see them anymore because he was outside of the wall, but he could hear them. The gate guard was still talking. What was he saying? Was he whispering like the shadows? He was. Tom grimaced, and when the gate guard leaned down to help him up, Tom kicked him. He was on his feet. He was running. Houses, cities, worlds flew by. Where was he? He tried to look at the street signs as they darted past, but he couldn't read them. The whole world was spinning, and he was standing still. But he was running. He was in a dream. He was dreaming. He must be. He tripped once, no, twice. He couldn't tell. His knees were bleeding. His clothes were covered in pudding soil. He couldn't remember how it got there.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's go to the word potting. Okay, so instead of putting, it's potting soil.
Pudding soil.
Okay, one more time. Potting soil.
Pudding soil.
Good, good. Next up, tripped. Instead of treeped. Okay, short I. Tripped.
Tripped.
All right, very good. And okay, let's go to the word grimaced. Okay, right here, grimaced.
Grimaced.
Okay, very
Grimaced.
good.
Okay.
All right, and the last one for you is gate guard. Now, here, yes, we can use a stop T, saying gate guard, but, okay, it sounded like you were saying gay guard, okay? When you pronounce the T, okay, you have to pronounce half of it. So it sounds like this, gate, okay? So your voice goes up a little bit. If not, if you say, it sounded like you were saying the guard was homosexual. Okay, so the homosexual guard. And so I was like, okay, so it would be the gate guard. Okay, so try that. So you're going to say gate, and you pause a little bit before you get to the second G in guard. The gate guard. Yes. Try that.
The gate guard.
Yes, good. One more time. The gate guard.
The gate guard.
Perfect. Okay, now that's how you pronounce the stop T. Okay, yes. Nice job, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Good, good. Very good. Let's go to Amparo. Okay, Amparo, please read from the houses flew by. Okay, and read down to here. It was still standing, please.
Okay. The house flew by. He wanted his mother's hand to wipe the tears from his face. He loved his mother, and he loved his father too. How did he do it? How did he do it? His father had disappeared. Tom knew that he had seen him. Where did he go? He ran to the front door and found it unlocked. Was he inside? All he saw was darkness. He heard his father's voice whispering. He was whispering things that he couldn't understand, and he could feel the world spinning, but he was standing stand still.
Good, nice job, nice job. All right, let's go to, let's see, where did you go? Saw, right here. Okay, so all he saw was darkness. Try that. All he saw was darkness.
All he saw was darkness.
Very good. And one other word, loved instead of loved. He loved his father too.
He loved his father too.
Okay, instead of loved.
Loved.
There you go. Yeah. So you've been saying an ah sound, saying he loved,
Mhm.
loved. He loved his father too.
He loved his father too.
There you go. That's it. Okay. Nice job. Nice job. Thank you. Okay. Great. Let's continue here with Jade. Jade, please read from he closed the door. Okay. Finish his paragraph. And read down to and he could understand, please.
Yes. He closed the door so that nobody else could hear. His father whispering. It was dark. The lights were off. He flipped the switch, but nothing happened. He was inside one of the whispering shadows. It had eaten him, but it was his father's voice. He knew it was. But what was he saying? "Where are you?" Tom called out in desperation. "Why can't I see you? Why can't I see you?" And then he could understand. It was his father's voice, and he could understand.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to could here, right? So instead of could, okay, it's an sound. Could. He could understand.
He could understand.
Okay, now, when you have vowel sounds after the D, okay, what you want to do is mix that word. So take the D and slide it over to the beginning of the next word. Okay, so you're not saying could understand. So that's adding an extra. Yeah, so it's he could understand.
He could understand.
Okay, could under.
He could understand.
And he could understand.
And he could understand.
Now, this that trick will take a little bit, but it will help you get rid of that after the D.
Okay.
Okay. So same thing here. He called out instead of called out. Okay. He called out. He called out.
He called out. He called out.
Okay, good. This vowel sound here is a long A. Saying. Very nice. Next up, we have the ED. This will sound like a T. So he flipped the switch. He flipped the switch.
He flipped the switch.
Okay. Now, with the T sound there at the end of flipped, you can mix it with the word the. So flip the.
Okay. He flipped the switch. He flipped the switch.
Now, in Sweden, I imagine they say switch, and they use a V sound, svi. Okay?
Yeah. Switch. Is not.
Yeah, there you go. He flipped the switch.
He flipped the switch. Okay.
There you go. Good. All right, nice job. Just remember, with the D sounds, okay, you can pair it up to the next word. That's the goal. You don't want to ever, at the end of a word, you don't want to ever have to finish that D unless a comma follows it, or unless it's at the end of a sentence. Even then, you can use what's called a stop D. Okay?
Yes. Thank you very much, Chad.
Thank you. No problem. Okay, let's go to Laura.
Yes.
Okay, Laura, please read from I'm here, and I'm just going to guess here because I can't see how many lines. I usually try and do about four 4 or 5 this next time around. So that looks good. That looks like it'll be about 4. Yeah, let's have you read down to eternity. So I'm here down to eternity, please.
I'm here, the shadow said. I'm everywhere around you. But why can't I see you? Because I've disappeared, Tom. I'm here, but I've disappeared. I want to disappear, said Tom. I want to disappear. The shadows were silent. Nothing moved. The walls stopped turning. The clouds had stopped moving. He couldn't see the clouds, but he knew they had stopped moving. He hugged himself. It was cold. Why can't I see you, Father? Make me disappear so I can see you, Tom cried. I'm sorry, son. The voices fell silent, all of them. Tom waited. He waited for an eternity.
Okay, good. Now, nice job here. I want to practice the sound with you briefly. Okay, so it's with the word clouds. Okay, so when you're pronouncing the D sound there, okay, your D kind of sort of got lost into the S, saying clouds. Okay, so you want a voiced sound coming from here. Zzz, zzz, clouds, clouds. Try that.
Clouds.
Yeah,
Clouds.
yeah. There you go. One more time. Clouds.
Clouds.
Good, good. That's how you're going to pronounce that D and the S. Okay, so let's try another word as well. Okay, so this is cards.
Cards.
Okay, one more time. Cards.
Cards.
Almost. Okay, so that's the sound I want you to work on. Okay, we don't get cards all the time, but it's the DS that gets a little tricky because when you were saying clouds, it sounded like you were just saying clouds. Okay, without the D. Okay, with cards, it sounds like you're saying cars. Okay, and you're skipping over the D because you're missing the voiced sound coming from your vocal cords. Okay, so take a look at cards, regards. So any word that ends with a D and an S, and see if you can practice that. Understands, okay, and adding that Z sound, that Z. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, nice job. Everything else is pretty good, Laura. Nice job.
Thanks. Thanks.
Okay, let's go to Nura. All right, let's see here. Okay. Waiting for an eternity. Okay, Nura, please read from It Wasn't So Cold. Okay, it finishes paragraph. This line here. Give me about 3. Read down to here where it says he stared at his shoes, please.
Okay. It wasn't so cold anymore. He could feel heat coming from somewhere. There was a fire in the furnace. How did that get there? He looked around and saw that he was alone. It was dark, but there were no shadows. They were gone. The shadows were gone. Father, he cried emphatically. Father, where are you? There was no reply. Tom gazed into the furnace. What was his father sorry about? He stared at his shoes.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Okay, let's take a look here. First up, we have gazed. Okay, so this is a diphthong. We have a. Instead of gazed, it's a. Gazed.
Gazed.
There you go. Tom gazed into the furnace. Try that.
Tom gazed into the furnace.
Okay, one more time. Gay. Add that E at the end. Tom gazed into the furnace.
Tom gazed into the furnace.
There you go. That's better. Okay, this word here is gone. Instead of gone, it's an ah sound. Gone.
Gone.
Okay, very nice. Next up is the word alone. Right here, instead of alone, it's alo. Oh, alone.
Alone.
Okay, very good. And your last one, okay, is saw. Okay, instead of saw, adding an u, it's only an ah sound. So he looked around and saw that he was alone. Try that.
He looked around and saw that he was alone.
Okay, instead of and saw, it's and saw, only an ah. Okay,
And
he looked around and saw that he was alone.
he looked around and saw that he was alone.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Very good. Okay, shoes. All right. Let's see. Osama.
Yes.
Okay, Osama, please read from "They were covered"
Okay.
down to "on the wall near the furnace," please.
And the one new furnace. Okay. They were covered in mud and pudding soil. His hand clutched something cold and promising. He looked behind him. He looked behind him and could make out by the light of the furnace the marks his shoes had left on the cement floor. The cement floor. Then he was looking around at the room. Where was he? The furnace was in the basement. How did he get in the basement? There was a red stain on the wall near the furnace.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's go to red stain instead of rod. Okay, give me a short e. A red stain.
A red stain. A red.
Very good. Okay, let's try covered in mud, covered in mud and potting soil. Okay, now with and we want to say covered in mud and potting soil.
Oh, that's kind of tricky. Covered in
Yeah.
Covered mud and potting soil.
Okay, covered in mud and potting soil. So that and is
Covered mud.
Mm.
Covered mud and potting soil.
Okay, let's try this. So mud and potting soil.
Mud and potting soil.
There you go. Mud and potting soil.
Mud and potting soil.
So they were covered in mud and potting soil.
They were covered in mud and okay, I will try it. Okay.
All right. So that's the next thing I want you to try working on. Changing and
to
okay,
n.
changing and to n. Okay, it's not just an n, it's the sound n. Okay, and then also changing for to fur.
What? Sorry, the last one.
Change for to fur.
Fur. For fur. Okay.
For to fur. Okay. All right. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
No problem. Let's go to Rafa. All right.
Yeah.
Furnace. Hi there, Rafa. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Sorry for the delay.
Good. No problem. Let me have you read from why would anybody, and then white light, please.
Yeah. Why would anybody splatter paint on the wall in the basement? He found the creaky stairs, and slowly walked up them. The doorway at the top of the stairwell gave easily when he pushed it. He remembered that the latch was broken. The door swung open, and as it did, a strange and blinding light was uncovered. Tom left his hand on the broken door latch for a long time and stared at the blinding white light.
Okay, very good. Let's go to stared right here. So this is stared at the blinding white light.
Stared at the blinding white light.
One more time. Stared at the blinding white light.
Stared at the blinding white light.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the word left. So this is left.
Left.
Okay, very nice. Next we have swung. Now, with your S sound, point your tongue downwards. So instead of saying swung, it's swung.
Swung.
There you go. That's a good S sound. Okay. And the last one here is paint. Right here, instead of pint, okay, it's an A sound. Paint.
Paint. Wonderful.
Very good. Very good. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, let's have you continue reading from Tom left down to disappeared. So I went back one line so that you could read about 4 here. Okay? Go ahead and read
Tom,
that, please.
Tom left his hand on the broken door latch for a long time and stared at the blinking white light. He could see nothing but its b- brilliance. Brilliance. He could feel nothing but its sadness. He stared at the light and was enter, 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 enter,
Entranced.
entranced by its beauty and its sadness, and his fighter twisted, and he felt the roar, but did not hear it, and the room was dark, and the red stain on the wall was fresh, and Tom had disappeared. Disappeared.
Okay, very good. All right, let's go to the word fresh. Give me a good FR here. Fresh.
Fresh.
Good, good. Let's try the R here in roar.
Roar.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Roar.
one more time. Push the tongue down. Roar.
Roar.
Okay, so he felt the roar.
He felt the roar.
Good, good. Next is his finger. Instead of hes, it's a short I. His finger.
His finger.
Okay, very nice. Next up is brilliance, right here. Brilliance.
Brilliance.
One more time. Brilliance.
Brilliance.
Okay. This word here is blinding.
Blinding.
Okay, good. And the last one here is stared.
Stared.
Good, good. All right, nice job.
So the R in this paragraph, it's okay.
You had some that we had to work on, like on roar. You had said roar. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, you have to look practice doing what's called active listening.
Okay.
Okay. So try and feel what your tongue is doing. Feel what's going on in your mouth, so that you can work on the pronunciation. Okay. Hear how the word is sounding. Okay. So you can auto correct. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. No problem. Now, yeah. Well, so is it? I'm not watching the game. I just hear the craziness that's going on. So did they? Is the game over? What's his name? So is it 1-0? Does anybody know? Costa Rica, Italy.
No idea.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see here, Tatiana.
Okay, for what?
Let's have you read from. This is our new story here. Okay. It is here in the chat box. Okay. Please read from whatever hour. Okay. Finish these 2 paragraphs and read down to here, page or 2, please.
Whatever hour you woke, there was a door shutting. From room to room they went, hand in hand, lifting here, opening there, making sure a ghostly couple. Here we left it, she said, and he added, Oh, but here, too. It's upstairs, she murmured. And in the garden, he whispered. Quietly, they said, or we shall wake them. But it wasn't that you woke us. Oh, no, they are looking for it. They are drawing the curtain, one might say, and so read on a page or two.
Okay, very good. Let's go to a few words here. First up, instead of drawing, okay, the AW will be an ah sound only. Okay, so the U will not sound here. So this is drawing, drawing.
Drawing.
Good, good. So let's try this. They are drawing the curtain.
Drawing the curtain.
Good, nice job. Next up is whispered. So instead of we, whispered, okay, use a short I. Whispered.
Whispered.
One more time. Whispered.
Whispered.
Good, good. And last one here, we're going to practice the short I in lifting and the word here. Instead of he, okay, it's here. Curve your tongue up for the R. Okay,
Here.
so it's lifting here.
Lifting here.
Good. All right, nice job. Thank you, Tatiana. Okay, so curtain. All right, let's go to Victor. Okay, page or two, I believe. All right, so please read from Now They've Found It. Okay, and read down to here where it says, perhaps it's upstairs then, please.
Now they found it. One would be certain, stopping the pencil of the margin. And then, tired of reading, one might rise and see for oneself the house all empty, the door standing open, only the wood pigeons bubbling with content and the hum of the threshing machine sounding from the farm. What did I come in here for? What did I want to find? My hands were empty. Perhaps it's upstairs then.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the word with content. Okay, right here, instead of content, content would be information. Content, happy. So the stress is at the very end. Content.
Content. With
Very
content.
good. Good. Next word here is margin. Right here, mar. On the margin.
On the margin.
Okay, very good. And last one here is sta. Instead of stoop, it's sta. Stopping. Stopping.
Stopping. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Very nice. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for coming into class. It was great having you all here. Okay, I will be taking a break until a bit later tonight. I have some other classes that I'll be giving. Okay.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
All right,
It
you
was a
guys.
great class.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
guys.
Chad.
Take care.
Goodbye.
You guys are
See you.
doing great. Take care. Bye-bye.